Welcome. This is a floor yoga series where we'll be exploring a series of movements and practices here, remaining on the floor. For this practice, you'll need a yoga mat. I would recommend that you have at hand 1 or 2 sturdy folded blankets. And you can see I've also have a set of yoga blocks. Now, yoga blocks can be substituted with lots of different household items, including books, toilet paper rolls, anything that is sturdy that would add a little bit of height under your hands. So please know that you do not need to go outside of your home to find what you need for these practices. Okay, so let me take a moment here to acknowledge the land that I am blessed to live, work, and play on, the unceded territories of the Blackfoot peoples from here in southern Alberta. And I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the lineage of yoga that I have been blessed to learn from: the South Okanagan Yoga Academy, Muggs McConnell, Dr. Hari Dickman, and many, many yoga masters. I'm so grateful for the wisdom that they have carried on, and I pray that I honor them in what I share with you today. So I invite you to come down onto your back to begin. So when you come down onto your back, you may find that you'll want to keep your knees bent, at least to begin. And if you find that your neck and shoulders are quite tight, I can always tell as a yoga teacher because it looks to me like someone's head is dropping back. Their chin is much higher than their forehead. So you may want to tuck a throw pillow or a blanket underneath your head, if that is the case. If extending the legs down to the ground causes you discomfort in your back, keeping your knees bent is a nice option. Another nice option is to take a rolled blanket. Throw pillows at home also work, to put behind your knees so that as you lay down, you are held in a slightly bent knee position. So from this place, get yourself settled and comfortable. Begin to become aware of your breath, breathing in and out. Checking in and noticing how your body is here in this moment. Beginning to relax. A gentle body scan from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. So you are aware of how your body is right now. Take a moment to commit to yourself to honor your body, to listen to it, to adapt and adjust, so that in your effort, you remain in a state of ease. Breathe in and reach your arms overhead. Stretch through the legs, pointing the toes, extending the legs. Imagine you were able to stretch your torso and reach through your arms. Inhale and reach, reach, reach. Exhale to release your hands back down to your sides. Relax deeply. Repeat again, reaching your arms overhead, extending through the legs. Inhale, hold your breath as you reach, and then exhale to release. And once again, inhale to reach, stretch, hold your breath as you extend and lengthen the body, and then exhale to relax, bringing your hands back down to your sides. Go ahead and bend your knees, bringing your feet to the ground, or to the floor if you are not already there. Stepping your feet so that they're a little wider than your hips. Your arms can go out wide in a T position. Connect to the flow of your breath and inhale, starting to let the knees drop over towards the right, exhaling. Inhale to lift the legs back through center, and exhale to let the knees drop over to the other side. This is a warming movement. Continue following your own breath, rocking the knees gently from side to side, moving in a range of motion that works well for you, connecting breath and movement together. Move slowly so you can perceive all of the different sensations that come from the body in this practice. When that feels balanced from side to side, come back through to center, stepping the feet closer together. Shifting your hips so that you can roll over to one side. Pause here. Allowing your breath to stabilize, your blood pressure to stabilize. And then using your top hand to press into the floor to rise up. Coming into a comfortable seated position. So being seated on the floor can cause great difficulties for lots of people. So let me show you some nice supports to aid in our ability to sit comfortably for a few minutes. So I've taken a folded blanket and I've folded it in such a way that I can just shift it underneath my hips. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see how I'm doing this. So I'm not sitting so much on it as I am sitting as if I'm about to fall off of it. And it helps the pelvis to rock into a more neutral position. Being cross-legged can be a struggle for many people. So if you find that you are really feeling, like the hips are sore, being cross-legged is not very accessible for you, using a set of yoga blocks, you could also use rolled towels or rolled blankets. You can use it to support your thighs or under your knees. And you'll find that there's a lot of ease that comes by having this little bit of support. Sometimes it's our ankles and our feet. So you could bring the soles of the feet together. This is more accessible than the traditional cross-legged for many people. And you could use the blocks under your knees or thighs here as well. Always feel free to extend the legs out. You could even use a rolled blanket or blocks behind your knees and sit with your legs extended. Okay. We'll take a few moments to practice the three-part complete breath, the full yogic breath. So when we're seated in any position, we want to ensure that the pelvis is in a neutral position. So do a gentle tip and tuck of the pelvis. And imagine your pelvis like a bowl. We're just rocking this bowl. You're going to find the most neutral position for this bowl. So as if there was liquid in here, we want to make sure it's neither falling out in the front We're being dumped out the back, lengthening the spine gently. And you'll start to become aware of a gentle firmness below your navel. And if you're not sure, go ahead and let it go and let your belly become soft. And then go through the exercise again of bringing the pelvis into the neutral position, lengthening the spine, bringing the jawline into alignment, and you'll notice once again a sense of firmness below the navel. This is essential for our breath practices and for any seated movements, is to begin from this position. The three-part breath, we breathe in lower, middle, and then upper lungs. And then when we exhale the same way, from the lower, then the middle, then the upper lungs. So with your hands resting on your knees, or with one hand resting on your heart and the other one will be following. So place your left hand on your heart and follow the breath with your right hand. Breathing in, lower, middle, upper, and then exhaling, lower, middle, upper. Continuing on your own to breathe in this pattern, lower, middle, upper, exhaling, lower, middle, upper. Now follow your own breath, your own rhythm. We'll practice together for a few moments. Finishing up at the end of an exhale, letting your hands come down to your knees and allowing the breath to come back into its natural rhythm. Moving into some more warming actions. Extend your legs out in front of you and your hands can rest behind you on the floor. Separating your feet just a little bit. These are called jatis. It means tiny movements. And you're just going to roll the legs in and out. Feeling the movement. So continue to be aware of your breath. Now, bending the knees and bringing the feet to the ground. Gently rock the knees from side to side, as we did on our back earlier, but from the seated position. Connecting breath and movement together. Bring the soles of the feet together. The heels can be further away or they can be closer in, but try to have the pelvis be more neutral. The further the feet are away, the easier that practice of being seated on a neutral bowl is more possible. And gently bounce the knees up and down. A gentle bouncing. Bring the hands upright and very mindfully With an inhale, gently reach forward. The hands do not drop in space. Exhale to come back. So this might be a very subtle movement. Inhale to come forward. Exhale to come back. You can use your hands to help you to bring the knees back together. Extend the legs out in front of you again. And now give them a good thump to the ground. This helps to move lymph and blood from the lower legs and get a lot of that stagnant energy moving. Bring the right foot in towards the inner thigh. And do, if possible, lift the knee and lift the ankle. Otherwise, you could leave it right here. I'm going to do a gentle rocking of the foot across, or if you can't lift your foot, you do a gentle bounce from here. And then gently release the leg down. Stepping the left foot in, and you can either do a gentle bounce here, or you could lift the leg up and do a gentle rock. Release the leg down. Again, leaning back, rolling the legs in and out. Crossing the legs or coming into a butterfly position. You can also put that little bit of height under your hips if that helps you to be more seated comfortably. Moving a little into preparing the arms, the shoulders, and the neck. Okay, bringing the hands up to behind the head. Do a gentle swimming motion. Swim backwards. And release. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down, pulling them forward before lifting them back up and sending them back and down again. A few more times. If possible, raise your right arm up into the air. Your palm will face in towards the direction of your face. Now, if this is hard for your shoulders, sometimes raising the arms overhead can be quite difficult. You can place your hands on your shoulder, or you can place your hand on your head. Another option is to leave your hand down entirely. All of this can be done just like that. So if you're raising the arm overhead, the arm comes up. And inhaling to lengthen the right side. Leave your sit bones evenly rooted, gently tipping over to the left. Keep this arm strong, reaching and feeling a long line of energy from your sit bones out through your fingertips. Inhale to come back up. Exhale to release. Inhaling to sweep the left arm up, or placing the hand on the shoulder, the head, or leaving the hand down to the side. Lengthening the left side and tipping over to the right. Breathe into this left side of your body. Watch for any rotation, and you should still have that firmness below your navel. Inhaling to come back up, exhaling to release. Begin to gently flow from side to side. You may notice that one side feels tighter than the other. This is very normal, and one of the many reasons why we practice yoga is to restore a sense of balance and symmetry back into the body. When you've completed both sides equally, coming back through to center. If you are cross-legged and you've been cross-legged the same way with the one leg in front, I ask you to explore switching so the awkward leg is in front. Now, many seniors will have back pain, hip pain, so you may find that you need to use your blocks or your props in other ways, depending on which leg is in front. We'll move into some gentle preparation for the neck. So we want to have that firmness below the navel, lengthening the spine, jawline draws in gently. I'm going to inhale to look to the right and exhale to look to the left. You're just going to continue on your own. Inhaling to swivel to the right, exhaling to swivel to the left. Notice the tensions that are there present in your head. You're at the base of the skull, along the neck, into the back and shoulders. Inhaling back through the center when that feels balanced from side to side. And then begin to connect the breath with an inhale to look upwards and an exhale to look downwards. So anyone that might have arthritis or osteoporosis in their neck, please be mindful that you're not moving past a range of motion where you feel very safe and comfortable. Continue to connect to your breath so you're very aware of what is needed in your body right now. Coming back through to center. Relaxing the shoulders and the face. The final part of our warm-up, we will be coming over onto our hands and knees. Now, I know that there's many folks that might struggle in this position, so I want to make sure that I've given you options. Okay, so as we're coming to kneel, a lot of the time it is actually knee pain that causes a fair bit of discomfort for most people. So use a folded blanket to create some cushioning for your knees to come onto if you find that that is the pain in your knees is from here. When you plant your hands, a lot of the time it can be wrists, fingers, thumbs that cause discomfort to be in this position. So you could work on fists. This is a nice option. Another one that I like to call cupcake fingers, where you make a cupcake or like a cupcake shape under your fingers. This might strike people with arthritis on their fingers, won't be very successful in that position often. And you can also choose to be on your forearms. This is a nice option as well. And please note that these practices that we're about to do can be done from a seated position, and I will give you a demo of that after I've given a demo of the cats and the cows here on our knees. So working here in a way that you are comfortable, make your arms strong, press down into the hands, and imagine that you're butting your head, the crown of your head into the wall in front of you, and pushing your sit bones into the wall behind you. The movement goes in a sequential manner. When we inhale, the tail starts the movement, the belly starts to sink, and the gaze comes forward. And then we exhale, curl the tail under, round the back as you gaze underneath yourself. And you continue to flow through this breath. Inhaling, tail goes up, gaze comes forward. Exhale, tail curls under, rounding the back as you gaze under the body. So continue on your own. The seated version of this would be from this cross-legged position. And we move in the same way. The tail curls under, the back rounds, gazing down as we exhale. And inhale, the tail moves forward first, arching the back, gaze coming up. Okay, so you could be doing this spinal wave movement from kneeling or from seated. Coming back through to center, settling back towards Balasana or child's pose. So we let our hips drop back towards our heels. Many will not be able to have their hips come towards or come near their heels. So it's okay if you find that you're sitting upwards. Your forehead should come to the floor. And not everyone's forehead is going to come near the floor, and that's just fine. You could use your hands, even stacked fists under one on top of the other so that your forehead is landing on something. If your hips are lifted, there are some options to aid you in this. So you could use a folded blanket in behind your knees if you find that your knees need a little bit of space. You could also use a roll underneath your ankle joints if you find that it is your ankles, that's front of your feet, that are struggling in finding this stretch. So just give you a quick demo visual of what that would look like. So you can add that little roll underneath. Breathing here in this child's pose. Child's pose is wonderful for lengthening out the low back. Very quieting, grounding, centering posture, and is often used as a counter pose. We'll be coming back to it. Inhaling to now come down onto your belly. And I'll give you a demo here. So before you come down to your belly or in such a way where you're going to have to work hard to see your screen, I invite you to just observe. So we're going to practice 3 lifts for the Bujakas or the Cobra pose. So we're going to start with our hands back beside our hips. And I'm going to ask you to inhale to raise the head gently. But the key here is to actually press the legs into the ground, strengthening up the backs of the legs and the glutes. So I'm not clenching them tightly, but I've created some activity. And then moving with the breath. So inhaling. And then exhaling to lower down. So you do that 2 times. So come on down and have an observation or have an opportunity to give this a go. Inhaling to lift the chest up gently. Exhaling to lower down. Strengthen the legs up good, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Feel the backs of the legs and the top of the glutes come to life. And inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower down. Now we're going to repeat this, but this time with the hands reaching forward. Now you can't see my hands. I'm going to back up a little so you can see them here. So my hands are reaching forward. Okay. And it's the same thing. My legs are active. I'm going to ask you to inhale to come up. And then exhale to go down. And do that 2 more times on your own. Inhale to lift the gaze gently up. Exhale to lower down. If you struggle raising your arms overhead in this way, you'll just be repeating the one with the hands back beside the hips. Inhaling to lift up. And exhaling to lower down. Rest here, so you can bring your hands so that your hands are under your forehead. Or you could place your hands beside your face, turning your face to one side. Breathing here for a few moments. Place your hands under your shoulders to aid you to come back onto your knees and into a child's pose again. Inhale, to swing your legs around and come into a seated position. So Dandasana is the posture that it's a big pose. As simple as it seems, it's a very big pose. Here, we're going to pull the toes up into the air in what we call dorsiflexion, okay? The legs are straight and the hands are down to the floor beside you. Now, many of us are going to look like this, like so. So be aware of that bowl of your pelvis, and here's how we can fix it. So a lot of the time our hamstrings are so tight, that's what's pulling our pelvis under in this position. So we can aid that by bending the knees slightly. And notice how that gives you more room. You can also place a rolled blanket or the blocks behind your knees so that you don't have to hold the bent knee position. You can be supported in the bent knee position. Your hands come down to the floor. I have short arms, so I work on fingertips, but you might have longer arms and your hands might press into the floor. And here we make the legs active, as if we're pulling our leg bones back into the body, lengthening the spine, dropping the shoulders down the back, and breathing here for a few moments. This takes more energy than you might think. Let the energy go, release the energy, feel the energy leave your body. Bring the soles of the feet together into what is known as butterfly. And here, once again, try to have that pelvis be in a neutral position as you sit tall. And then see if the pelvis can rock forward at all, and it might not be very much. But then allow the spine to soften and round as you fold forward. Your hands can support you. You can also have blocks under your knees here if you struggle in the back of your hips, have any hip pain. Inhale to rise back up. Now take your right leg and extend it out. Now you can have the left foot tucked in closely. The right leg is out wide. So I'm going to use my folded blanket as a little wedge behind my hips to aid my seated comfort here. And then I'm going to use, I'm just using this as a little wedge just to help. I'm going to also use a block here underneath my long leg. And that's going to help to release my hamstring to make this more accessible. Now, please watch for a moment while I give you a demo, and then we'll do the pose together. So sitting tall, here I have the firmness below my navel. This is a side bend, so we're really getting into the side body, and the inner thigh is really going to feel this. So you're going to turn away from the long leg. Your hand will be resting here. So it's your right leg out to the side. Your hand will be resting on your right thigh or right knee. You may be able to raise the arm overhead. Options is to place the hand on your shoulder or on your head or leaving it at your hip. So I've turned away, so I have a bit of rotation. I'm going to slowly slide my hand down my right leg as I come into a side bend. I'm going to breathe here, okay? So let's come into this together. Sitting tall, so your right leg is extended out wide, left leg is tucked in. You may have a wedge under your hips, and you may have something underneath to help your bent knee. Turning away from the long leg, you may inhale the left arm up into the air. Your palm will face towards your ear. Firmness below the navel. Keep the spine long as you slowly tip over to the side. You may not be able to come very far. Your gaze will stay neutral. Breathe into the side body. Feel that stretch. Feel the movement of your ribs as you breathe. Inhale to come back up and exhale to release. Taking your right leg, you're going to fold it over. Okay, so now you're sitting on one hip or more on one hip. Your right leg is now folded behind you. Your left foot touching your right thigh. Observe here. You're going to have your hip follow you. So rope your belly so it's connected to your leg. Bringing your right hand to your left knee. Gently twist around. Coming into this twist, take a few breaths here. Feel how the breath is being restricted by the pose that you are in. Slowly release the gaze and then unwind. You can take this back leg, bring it forward. We'll release the left leg out and then bring the right foot in. And now we're ready for the other side. Sitting tall. Firmness below the navel. You may want to tuck a block behind the knee and have that wedge underneath your hip. We turn away from the long leg. Your left hand now resting on your left thigh. Begin to make sure you begin with this tall spine, tipping over to the side. Your hand could stay at your hip, could come to your shoulder as you lift the elbow, could come to the head, or you could reach. Breathe here, stay evenly grounded through your sit bones. These side bends are so good at improving breath health, making sure that our rib cage is mobile and movable. Breathe in to come back up and exhale to release. We're now going to fold the left leg back as we sit over onto the right hip. Okay. So you can rest in this position or something a little more closed. And we're going to start to twist around. So now your left hand will come to your right knee. Your right hand will be to the floor. Rope your belly awareness down to your hips so your hip follows you as you twist around. Take several breaths in the twist, feeling how your breath creates pressure in the abdomen and in the spine. Breathe in to release the gaze. And then unwind this left leg out to the side. And bring the right leg out to the side. So now we're in a wide-legged forward fold. Your hands might need to be behind you to help you to stay here. Or maybe you're a little more flexible and your hands can come in front. And you can fold forward slightly. Or maybe a lot, just as a nice counterpose to balance out the hips after that practice. Inhaling to slowly come back down. We'll bring our legs back together. Might be nice to bring the knees in towards your chest and give yourself a hug. Some seated cats and cows can be very nice as well for releasing tension. We're going to be coming down onto our backs to finish with two poses today. And I would like to give you the demos before we come down so that you're not needing to get up to observe the posture. So the first one that we're going to do is our balance pose. And so our balance pose today is going to be on our back. This is often referred to as bird dog, but this is an upside down bird dog. And what I'm going to ask you to do is while you're here on your back, when you're here and you bring your knees into the air, to notice if you try to flatten your back when you do that. It's actually more difficult than it sounds to lift your knees without rounding the back into the floor. And then you bring your hands up into the air, palms are facing each other. Now you may need to do this one at a time. So you'll lengthen the left leg away with an in-breath and an out-breath, you'll bring it back. And then you'll lengthen the right arm away with an in-breath and with an out-breath, you'll come back. Inhale, exhale, actually, exhale, reach, inhale, come back, explore the different breath. And you're going to go from limb to limb, leg, then arm, leg, then arm, and then maybe opposite leg and opposite arm moving together. So come on down onto your backs. And let's begin there. Wherever you're at, you bend your knees, lifting your knees into the air. Palms are facing each other as your hands are extended into the air. Try not to round the back. The back is in a neutral position. Reaching one leg away and coming back. Use your breath. Reach the opposite arm back, coming back. Okay. Other leg reaches out and comes back. Opposite arm goes overhead and comes back. So continue with that one limb at a time, or begin to do opposite leg, opposite arm. Breath is moving back and forth. Be sure your breath is moving. When that feels well balanced from side to side, release your feet down to the ground. And you may need to do some gentle rocking of the knees. to release off tensions from that practice. Eventually, perhaps you can relax all the way into Shavasana, where you're laying flat on the ground. Take a few moments to rest here. You can also keep your knees bent if your legs flat down to the ground doesn't work. Bending your knees, I invite you to roll over to your side to observe for the next posture. Okay, so we'll be now be coming into our final pose, which is going to be the bridge pose. So our feet are grounded, knees are bent, and our heels are somewhat close to our buttocks, but don't need to be super close. When we lift, we'd like our shins to be upright. Your hands come down beside your hips. Your feet should be parallel to one another. To just observing, you're going to inhale to press into the backs of your arms, press into your hands, and press into the feet to lift your hips up. Feet stay grounded, and then you're going to exhale to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Okay? We'll do that a few times. So come on down onto your back. Bend your knees. Your feet should be parallel. Hips somewhat close to your buttocks. Hands down beside your hips. You do not want to blanket under your head in this posture, but you also don't want your neck to be changing shape in this posture. Okay, so just stabilize and be aware of your neck. Press into the backs of the arms, press into the palms, press into the feet. Inhale to lift the hips up slowly. And then exhale, curl down one vertebrae at a time. Relaxing here. Briefly, before you begin again. So you're going to inhale, press into the backs of the arms, the hands and the feet. Inhale to lift the hips into the air. Now hold this posture for several breaths. Your breath moving steadily and evenly. Feel your feet firmly grounded. Make sure your knees are not falling out or in, and your gaze is straight up. And then when you're ready, exhale, try to lay down one vertebrae at a time to relax into the floor. Now, to release any tensions from that posture, you may wish to draw your knees in towards your chest, holding onto your knees or behind your knees to give yourself a gentle hug, maybe rocking gently from side to side. Bring your feet back down to the floor as you are ready, and we're going to prepare for a brief relaxation. Extending your legs down to the ground if that is comfortable. You can also keep your knees bent or place a rolled blanket behind your knees. You can also use a pillow under your head. And because this is a cooling practice, you may wish to put a blanket over your body. Please remain laying down. I'm going to sit up to take you through a guided relaxation. Become aware of your breath. Let your breath move smoothly, steadily, at its own natural pace. And begin to relax your body deeply. Bring your mind to the forehead and imagine a light shining there, the light of your attention. I'm going to speak out different parts of your body, and I invite you to shift this light of your mind, this attention from point to point as I speak them out loud. Don't allow your mind to skip forward as you begin to comprehend the pattern that we are following. So resting on your back, your mind at your third eye, at the forehead. Relax deeply. Bring your mind now to the center of your throat. Right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist. Tip of the right thumb, index finger, middle finger, fourth finger, little finger. Coming back to the right wrist, right elbow, right shoulder. Center of the throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist. The tip of the left thumb, tip of the left index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder, center of the throat, heart center, right side of the chest, heart center, left side of the chest, heart center, navel center, center of the pelvis, right hip, right knee, right ankle, right big toe, second toe, middle toe, fourth toe, pinky toe, right ankle, right knee, right hip, center of the pelvis, left hip, left knee, left ankle, left big toe, second toe, middle toe, fourth toe, pinky toe, left ankle, left knee, left hip, center of the pelvis, navel center, throat center, center of the forehead, let your mind rest here at your forehead as you relax deeply. Stay here, enjoying this state of relaxation as long as you wish. Whenever you are ready, you'll roll to your side, taking several breaths on your side. And I invite you to take time to be in gratitude while lying on your side, to think of something that you are grateful for today. And when you do rise to seated, bring your gratitude along with you. May these yoga practices bless you in every way. Namaste.